Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome once again, as always, to another helping of Mr H's Hot Pot. You join me today for day 47 of the UK lockdown, where currently I'm out and about on this glorious Saturday morning. The sun is shining and it is shaping up to be a fantastic lockdown bank holiday weekend. But you join me today where I'm taking my daily exercise first thing in the morning, as always, trying to avoid the crowds and maintain social distancing from my fellow human beings as much as possible. And I'm bringing you guys along for the ride, albeit vicariously. So folks, day 47. I hope you're all well, I hope you're all in good spirits, and I hope you're all fettling okay. And in the news today is the news that Wales have sort of leaked the blueprint that Boris Johnson will probably follow regarding easing lockdown restrictions. They're not going to totally lift it, but as of Monday, people in Wales will be able to go out and exercise as much as they like. It'll be unlimited, but they'll have to take that exercise locally and maintain social distancing rules. Also, they'll be able to go down to the local library, again maintaining social distancing rules, and garden centres will reopen. And England have sort of signalled that they're going to follow what Wales are going to do. So it certainly looks like the beginning of the end of the lockdown is starting. And it's been interesting to note that when I've gone onto my computer this morning to just have a look and see if anybody's put any comments or anything like that throughout the night onto my videos, because usually that's when the old trolls creep out of the coffins in the early hours of the morning. So I always check when I get up and just to make sure that nobody's posted any rubbish or anything like that. And it's been interesting to note that when I've gone on to Google, which is the search engine that I use, I don't know if anybody else uses Google out there, but I, like many others, do. And it's been interesting to note that for the past 6 weeks or so, the doodles and all that they have on there have always been COVID-19 related, and basically putting the stay-at-home message in your face. And they've not done that this morning. It's just been a general one, and there's no mention of COVID-19 or coronavirus or stay-at-home or anything like that. So it does look like even Google have preempted that the government are going to dump this stay-at-home message. Now, the irony about this is that Scotland First Minister Nicola Sturgeon, she's not too happy that the government are contemplating dumping the stay-at-home message. And she's stating that she's going to try and get Scots to stay at home as much as possible. I think that'll be very difficult if, you know, the Scots see that their cousins over in England and Wales are starting to return back to normal and they are not. I think it'll be very difficult for them, but we'll just have to see how it goes. I mean, no, the recriminations and the party politics will start coming into play with this issue, I think, as we're starting to approach the beginning of the end. You know, the blame game's going to start, as is using little things to try and score points off one another, which has been happening anyway, I think. But for the majority, especially with Boris Johnson being hospitalised due to coronavirus, the political parties have sort of behaved themselves a little bit, but I think the gloves will be off as we move forward with that one. Anyway, we're now at the penultimate day of Boris Johnson's speech, aren't we? And we'll just have to wait and see what he has to say for himself tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. But it does look like the gist of what's going to happen has already been leaked. So what are your thoughts on that? You know, will you be looking forward to being able to go out and exercise as much as you like once again, albeit you'll have to stay locally and you'll have to maintain social distancing rules? Or will you continue with the current status quo? You know, where you're going to just go out once a day and you're going to be cautious, because I have seen in a lot of the comments that people have left, which I thank you once again for, that a lot of you are signalling that you want to remain cautious. You don't really want to return back to work straight away. You think it may be too soon and things like that. And it's interesting to note regarding work, how people feel about it, because I know that back in the early 90s, I was unemployed for quite a long time, unfortunately. And you sort of slip into a new routine, and you find that you slip into a new routine very quickly. So we'll have done that with this lockdown. You know, what we're currently doing, staying at home, you know, watching Netflix, going out once a day, exercising, etc., etc., that has become our new norm. And there will be a little bit of fear and nervousness, as well as, in some cases, resentment at having to give up that new norm, as daft as that sounds. As I say, I was unemployed back in the early 90s, and when you did eventually get a job offer, part of you felt resentful of it, because you thought, oh, I'm going to have to give up, especially on days like this where it's lovely, you know, you got a job offer in the summer months. I'm going to have to give up my freedom to be able to do what I want, when I want. And part of you, as I say, was resentful when you got that job offer. So it'll be interesting to note, do any of you out there feel resentful that potentially you may be returning back to work? Your industry has been deemed that it's safe for you to go back to work with social distancing measures in place, but other industries will still remain off and be able to enjoy the good weather and things like that. Leave your thoughts below on that one, because it'll be interesting to get to hear people's thoughts on that. But yeah, you know, there is the old resentment that you may have to return back to work and others don't, I suppose. Now, other people have left comments regarding the comments that I'd made in yesterday's vlog on VE Day. And it seems that a lot of you support Mr H in what he said regarding the brave men and women that made the ultimate sacrifice for this country, or paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country's freedom. And others don't agree with it at all. There are one or two of you out there who are stating that to celebrate VE Day, 75 years on, when Nazi Germany has been crushed and the modern day Germany, the modern day generation of Germans, are quite embarrassed about that period in their history. And, you know, really it's just jingoistic imperialism, it's German bashing, and it's just been an excuse for a lot of people to go out, put deck chairs in the street and break social distancing rules. You don't agree with that, and that's been interesting. Now, in my local area of Wigan, a lot of people used it as a party atmosphere, and one or two people who are from my hometown have criticised that and said that shouldn't have happened. My personal thoughts on it is, at the end of the day, we've all been bottled up for 7 weeks, haven't we? And this has been the first time that we've been allowed, if you like, to let off a little bit of steam. And I agree, you know, people should not have broken social distancing rules, if indeed they have, but it can be expected after 7 weeks, to be honest. And there's also a side of it that anything that brings the country together, because let's face it, this country's taken a battering with the Brexit debate, and now this with coronavirus. Anything that can sort of become a celebration and can bring us together isn't a bad thing in my eyes. So maybe the VE Day celebrations may be an outdated concept, especially seeing as VE Day happened 75 years ago, but if it's helping to bring the nation together and re-heal the nation, then it can't be a bad thing, can it? Leave your thoughts below on that one as well. So folks, I'm now slowly winding up to the old 10-minute mark, and that will be the time for Mr H to depart. Now, one or two of you, despite me mentioning time and time again where I'm going to be going with my channel after the lockdown period is ended, and you know, I'm going to cut it at 50 days, what am I going to be doing? I'll just reiterate that once the 50-day mark comes up, I'm going to end these daily vlogs. I'm going to go back to doing my normal style of video. Now, according to the rules that are going to be unveiled, it looks like we're going to be allowed to exercise unlimitedly, so that's a good-o, but I'll have to stick locally. So what I will be doing is I will be going round and I will be documenting little curiosities, little things, architectural pieces of interest, and just general things historically about my hometown. That's what I'm going to be doing just for this period until we're allowed to travel a little bit further. Right then folks, I am coming up to the 10-minute mark, so I'm going to wind this particular vlog up for today. So folks, until tomorrow, I'll bid you a fond farewell. As always, stay safe and bye-bye for now.